So at the beginning of the movie we see an old woman who brings her pregnant daughter to the hospital, because she was having a lot of pain in her stomach and it was time for her pregnancy, but because it was late at night, no one was there in the hospital and the doctor was not available, but there is a nurse who delivers it, and as soon as the baby comes out he starts flying in the air, but his mother feels that her baby is an angel and God has specially given it to her, but the nurse and his grandmother come to know that the child is abnormal and hence the grandmother starts taking him home. The nurse explains to them a lot that you cannot leave the hospital so soon. But they do not listen to her and come home. Grandmother knew that this child is very strange. So grandmother asks her daughter who his father is. And Natalia says I don't know. Then the grandmother tells her that this child is different from other children and if they tell this to anyone it can cause an uproar. So they will have to hide this from everyone. Now after this they name the child and the children is named Oscar. Oscar loved to fly in the air. He loved to fly in the air so much that whenever he was in the house, he used to stick to the ceiling while flying in the air and did not come down for hours, and to stop it for this, his grandmother used to tie him to the sofa and make the ceiling soft to avoid him hitting the ceiling. She was also afraid that if they sent Oscar outside, Oscar who is fond of flying in the air will fly into space. They keep it at home to prevent it from flying into space. Now as time passes, Oscar grows up and studies at home and watches TV when he is bored. He used to watch Superman on TV, who was his favorite hero and he dreamed of becoming like him. Oscar often looked out the window at children of his age going to school, due to which he also felt like going out but he cannot go. Now one day Oscar gets fed up and tries to go out through the window but then his grandmother sees him, after which Oscar gets scolded and not only this, his grandmother also packs the windows. But Natalia gets angry with this and says that how long will he stay in the house, someday he will have to go out, after which the mother makes him wear a jacket and puts 2 stones in that jacket, and without listening to her mother takes him outside and outside she tells Oscar not to tell this secret of his to anyone, otherwise people will take advantage of him. Now one day Oscar had come out with his mother and while walking he bumps into a girl named Agata. Due to which Agata falls down and gets angry and gives her fallen bottles to Oscar and takes him with her. She asks to go home. But at first Oscar does not agree but Agata is very stubborn due to which Oscar has to go with the bottles. Oscar was going with him but he had 2 bottles in his hand and 2 stones in his pocket, due to which he was feeling very heavy due to which he took out the stone and threw it away. Now on the way home both of them become good friends, but as soon as they reach home, Agata asks him to give her bottles. But Oscar refuses to give them because he knew that if he gives the bottles, he will fly away like Papa's angel. But Agata thinks that he is a thief and she starts snatching the bottles from him, and as soon as she takes the bottles, Oscar starts flying in the air but he stops after hitting the roof above, seeing which Agatha starts shouting Superman, but Oscar says, "Don't scream, you stupid, and please help." After which Agata brings a bag from inside which was filled with stones and gives it to him. As soon as she gives the bag, Oscar comes down and tells Agata that she will not tell anyone about this, I swear to you, our friendship. Now on the other hand Oscar's mother and his grandmother are very worried because of his disappearance and they think that Oscar has finally flown away. But at night Oscar comes running home and tells his mother that he was with Agata. When he was with Agata, his mother asks him whether he has told her his secret or not. Then Oscar says, "Do I look stupid to you?" Now Agata used to come to Oscar's house to meet him and both of them used to play together. But one day Natalia comes to know that Agata knows everything, after which she stops Oscar and Agata from meeting each other. Many times Agata comes to meet Oscar but Natalia drives him away by saying, "Get out of here." And all these other people were also watching that how they did not send Oscar out and did not allow him to mingle with the children, after which a rumor spread in the neighborhood that Oscar's mother and grandmother imprisoned him in the house and tortured him. Because of this they call the police and tell them everything, after which the police come to their house and warn them and tell them to send Oscar to school from tomorrow. Due to which they have to send Oscar to school but along with Oscar Natalia also goes to school, where she realizes that Oscar cannot live a life like ordinary children, due to which they decide to shift the house. And they leave that house and start living at a faraway place, and like this years pass and Oscar becomes a young boy and Natalia also grows old but his grandmother leaves the world. But even after so many years Oscar's way of life does not change and he has to spend the whole day at home. But Oscar was fed up with his life and he wanted to explore the world. Then Oscar thinks that if the world comes to know about his secret, then he too will become famous like Superman, but his mother does not think so and she does not believe in this. But Oscar was so fed up with his life that he does not listen to his mother and sets out to become famous. He appears in a magic show and shows his talent there, and on the same day the show becomes a complete hit. The show becomes such a hit that even his mother watches the show and asks Oscar to come back. But Oscar had to become famous, so he doesn't listen to his mother and meets a man named David, who is a content agent, and he tells Oscar that if you join me then I will make you very famous, after which he gives Oscar a big house to live in and in return makes him sign a contract. Now as per the contract, both of them start working together. He would take him to big shows and Oscar would also show his talent there, and while doing this, Oscar becomes very famous and in the same way Oscar gets the name of the man without gravity. Both of them were enjoying their work and Oscar had also printed a lot of money. But one day Oscar feels that his dream was to become Superman and here he has become a puppet to entertain peoples. and gradually he stops enjoying it and he dislikes it. And a documentary is also made on him in which his mother and grandmother are shown very badly, due to which he gets very angry and he releases all this anger on the audience sitting in the show. And after that he tells his agent that he will not do this anymore, on which his agent explains a lot to him and his mother, but Oscar does not agree. And he says to go and tell the people that the man without gravity is no more, and bids goodbye to the agent and his mother and leaves. After which his news also starts being shown in the news, due to which many people come to interrogate Natalia, but she says, "Get out from here." Now many years pass like this and Natalia also leaves the world, and now we see Oscar on a wheelchair, who used to work as a receptionist in a hotel while hiding himself from the world. He is very happy in his life, and one day he meets his childhood friend Agata. At first she does not recognize Oscar, but she recognizes him after seeing his bag. Both of them were single and they are very happy to meet each other. But the stubborn girl of childhood had grown up and become a naughty girl. She used to come to Oscar's hotel every time with a new man for money, seeing which Oscar felt bad. Oscar sometimes tells Agata his love for her, but in Agata's life Agata's aim was only to earn money, so she ignores him. But with time Agata also falls in love with Oscar and they both get married, and start living in the same house where they lived in childhood, and this is how the movie ends happily.